Hello and welcome, fellow trainers, to this special review edition of the Halzari Pokemon region, my custom fakemon region. If you're tuning in, you're probably here for more than just one thing of Halzari Pokemon. We've got ourselves the giveaway announcement. I've been running giveaways for Pokemon cards out of my own collection. Lately on the channel, once a week, I'm announcing the winners every single week on these Halzari videos. I'm going to announce the winners at the end of this video. So tune in and check out if you are the winners. But before we do that, we have to review everything that's been happening in the Halzari region thus far. I'm going to be going back from the previous review video all the way through if you've been following. So let's go. So as a quick reminder, the Halzari region, my custom region, is based off of the US. United States of America, little parts of Canada and Mexico in there as well, but heavily the U.S. If you couldn't tell by now, I'm a proud American citizen from the great state of Wisconsin, so I'm very, very proud of where I'm from. But I want to highlight some of the natural beauty and some of the natural things we do in the United States, which is all the inspiration that has our Pokemon region. Now, as we move forward, going all the way back, the first Pokemon since our review that you're going to meet, and if you haven't already, is PRAIRIEDIG. PRAIRIEDIG, based off of the American prairie dog of the plains, specifically, the Black Hills region and the plains region of the Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas, that area. They can be found in other regions as well, but they're heavily based in that area of the country. What's cool about PRAIRIEDIG is that ground and rock type, and it's got almost a metallic-esque drill bit like tail to dig into the ground, so they can create millions and millions of miles of tunnels if you let packs of PRAIRIEDIG really go to town. So that's a very fun and unique way to do something. I was always inspired by there was a small walkthrough zoo that from my hometown. I grew up in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and there's a small walk around zoo in our lakeside park, and that was always wonderful. And they had a prairie dog enclosure, so as a kid I absolutely adored just sitting there and watching the prairie dogs come up and down through all the holes in the enclosure. So I thought that was always fun. That was a big inspiration to me in creating PRAIRIEDIG. I wanted to give them a little bit of cheek, a little bit of ridiculousness to them. I thought that'd be really fun to go from. Now, moving forward, also in the same video, you got to meet some regional favorites. My regional variant of a PONYTA. I know there's already another regional variant to that. I started creating these Pokemon even before, I believe I even got this one in before Scarlet, or not Scarlet Violet, Sword and Shield really started. I started this project way back in the day, 2018-ish, as I was doing this. However, I do believe that's the same year. Was that the same year Sword and Shield came out? Maybe it was 19. Yeah, it was 19. So it's right on the fringe of whether I beat the Galarian PONYTA or not. But this one is a flying and fire type, heavily based off of a Pegasus, which is why you can see those little wings there. But I give it a darker color to get those bluish hues to balance out a really nice flame texture of yellows and oranges here. But I just adore the idea of flying type PONYTA. I'm shocked it's never been before. And I feel like it should. And also PONYTA, there are so many different variations of horses and so many different variations to just steed style Pokemon. Why not use those to your advantage and not use a regional form of a PONYTA, just like you would a Meowth to get all these different variations of cats. I think that'd be a really interesting, unique way to do things, which is why I went this route with a regional PONYTA, which leads directly into our regional Rapidash, which is also flying and fire type, but it's got that dark charcoal-esque color with the ghostly blue flames to it, which I think is just absolutely incredible theming wise. Just to see it rocket across the sky and see the blue meteor style streaks and these like ghostly, ghastly edges of flame coming through. I thought would be really fun and unique. I absolutely adore this PONYTA line and Rapidash specifically to hit alicorns, unicorns, and to also hit you know Pegasus into an alicorn is just absolutely beautiful. And I'm very, very excited and happy to share these guys with you. But alas, right after that video, you also got to meet the first gym leader in my region based off of a good friend of mine. I'm going to take you. This is Sam, for those of you guys don't know. She is the Avasaur gym leader, the flying type gym leader, if you will. The icon in the middle is actually a quick rendering of what the flying type gym badge, the flying type badge would be in the region. And to your right, you can see a variation of what Sam would use as a. So PRAIRIEDIG is the final flying type evolution. If you have never seen these videos before, I have 18 different starters for every single Pokemon type, which I thought could be really fun and unique too. Finchvolt, which is the final evolution to my Route 1 bird. Jumpluff, Gliscor, Salamence, and Corviknight all have very different variations of flying types and could pose different natural defenses against certain attackers and what they could do. So I thought that'd be a really fun and unique way to go about it and be very smart for a gym leader to not only have fully evolved Pokemon, but to have natural defenses against their weaknesses. So, Jumpluff, for instance, everyone would be, well, what's a Jumpluff going to do? Yeah, those that paralyze powder, that poison powder, those stun spore, stuff like that, is going to be able to take away some of those things that might take flight to attack it, which I thought would be very interesting. All sorts of variations of flying type defenses here, which I thought would be very neat. Finchvolt, for instance, electric type flying. So, it's going to be somewhat immune to that classic, oh, it flies, just shock it and it's done. So that's some of the logic behind Sam's team that I was very happy with. And directly following the unveiling of Sam, I also unveiled the first evolution to my team. This is WINDEON, flying type evolution of the region. It calls the Cliffside's home. It's got that pilot-like scarf around its neck and those cloud-like tail and furry patches, which I absolutely adore. And these evolutions are extremely fun to draw. As we go further into design work and we go further into character unveiling, I'm going to show you even more evolutions, which I'm sure you could tell by how much I love to be a completionist, to have a starter for every type and everything else. It's really fun to hit those notes. So I will have a bunch of evolutions for you and a bunch of other stuff in the future. But WINDEON is the flying type one. Gave it that classic wing-like ear, so that's where you could take flight. And then it has the clouds. It has 3 or 4 different variations of what makes you think of flight. That's what WINDEON does. It makes you think of flight. Clouds being up in the sky. The pilot's scarf, think of aviation. Those classic pilots that used to risk life and limb just to be up in the sky to finally explore a frontier that humanity hadn't gotten to before. The light blue coloring of the sky is in well, and then those wing-like ears for a final one. A very unique and interesting Pokemon, sure. Another Pokemon unveiled since our past review is Illumiboom. Illumiboom is a fairy and fire type Pokemon based off of a firework. This design's more specifically off a bottle rocket, but it's not inherently exactly what I was going for in it. It's the celebration Pokemon. I think one thing it's important to notice in character design is the things that you can bring out to unveil things that evoke positive feelings or feelings in general. If you want something to feel dread, you need to give a design that feels dread. If you want somebody to feel positivity, you have to give it a positive design. You have to give it happiness. I think Illumiboom really does that with the celebration-esque. Now, it's classic 4th of July American celebrations. Big events have big fireworks. So Illumiboom just illuminates the sky with dazzling sparks of color all around, and it has different color variations, which will eventually be unveiled on the channel. But it's a Pokemon that it was one of the first Pokemon I ever designed digitally. I do everything on paper first, and then I do digital, and it's one of the first ones I ever poured into digital because I was like, it's easy, let me see. And then it took a lot of exploring to get exactly what I wanted, but it gave me the confidence to work digitally. Um, Illumiboom always makes me smile so that's why I always feel very positive about the character design elements of it. The other thing I always want to talk about Illumiboom, it's a celebration Pokemon. There's a lot to celebrate. Um, even if a video is only getting 10 views, 12 views, that's 10 to 12 people if they're sharing with other people or watching other people that have never seen my designs. I don't look at it as, oh, I only got 12 people, I only got 10 people. I look at it as, whoa, those are 10 to 12 people who never seen something I've done, and now they're seeing it. So that's something to celebrate. I think we have a lot to celebrate in this review as well. So moving forward, although this was in the past review, it's important to see. This is Cardinber, a fire starter based off of Cardinal. I really wanted a different element to the three main starters. So they're all based on self-expression, elements of freedom, things of that nature that are core to the American, ideal, I guess, if you want to put it that way. I also love the idea of fire being toyed with the idea of rebirth, reincarnation almost. Cardinber, I always get emotional talking about Cardinber. When I first unveiled the Pokemon, Cardinals it's always said that some people believe in this, some people don't. I don't generally believe in things of this nature, but the irony was far too palpable not to mention it. There's always the old fable or old wives' tale that loved ones that have passed on will revisit you as cardinals. My mother-in-law said that a lot when my father-in-law passed away. And no joke, I was recording the video to unveil Cardinber, and I just looked out the window, and there's a beautiful cardinal right outside the window. They almost just looking over at me saying, good work. So I always get emotional thinking about Cardinber because I always think about my mother-in-law and other people I've lost in my life. So I feel like that's a really fun element to play with these fire types is dependency of things that we had in the past and then being reborn into something new, which is really fun in this line. And it's something that we need to protect. We need to protect our loved ones as well, which is why it has that staunch clutch to, it's the clutching Pokemon for a reason. It's clutching to that leaf, which it needs for its own survival. So then, as we move forward, it evolves into FUEGINAL, which is another fire type. It's that middle form of my fire starter. And you can see that leaf is starting to turn into something a little bit different. But then you get the more charcoal gray, so you're getting these different wilder aspects to FUEGINAL. The hair feathers are going a little bit crazier. You're getting the feather tail getting a little bit crazier. I absolutely adore this Pokemon. And the more and more time goes by, the more and more I like middle evolutions of starter lines or just Pokemon lines in general. And FUEGINAL always makes me feel that. I absolutely adore FUEGINAL. And finally, our fire starter line ends with CARDIZEAL. And CARDIZEAL I absolutely adore. It is a Pokemon that just always gives me the element of defense. If you are new to the channel and you're seeing this for the first time, all of my final starter evolutions, just like every group of evolutions in Pokemon, have a uniting or unifying idea. With CARDIZEAL, I'm evoking the ideas of a very obvious superhero. All my final starters have some element of and some inspiration from comic book superheroes. They're such American icons. So very obviously this one's probably Captain America for those that don't know. So that leaf grows with it and it goes from this clutching element that it needs and it can't live without to this thing that it turns into a symbiotic relationship where it's essential to what it is, but it uses its own weakness to grow into a strength and a tool for its own success. I absolutely love with Cardizeal. And a very fun Pokemon. And you're getting to see different color elements with the balance of the and the red, but then that very flowing white cape jacket look. Very cool for Cardizeal. And as we move on, we got some more to go through. I did not realize how long it's been since I did a review video. We got some more regional favorites to show you. We go to our regional variant of a Meowth. This Meowth is based off of a basic garden cat, really. Growing up in the Midwest, I always saw cats roaming around plants and things of that nature. Farm cats and this Meowth is a grass type. And I love evoking different elements through Meowth. I'm very disappointed actually that the Paldea region never got a regional Meowth. I thought that was a really nice design element that every Pokemon generation was starting to get since they made regional variants, because there's so many different variations on cats. So why not continue that for all the different typings and all the different regions if you could? So I gave them the grass type right here. So it's got that classic scarf look that someone working in. I always think of older folk that are gardeners that have the bandana and they're patting down their head, that nature. That's why it has that scarf bandana look to it. But then the whiskers are succulents, which is why they have those points to them. And then it has that floral crown on the top, which I absolutely adore. I just love this Meowth design. It's very fun and unique to me specifically. Then it evolves into a new Pokemon, although it's very much based on an old Pokemon. It evolves into Persennial, which is a grass type. So you see the elements of Persian there, but you see a lot of variation to Persian. Persian, the basic design is, a basic wildcat almost. Very much puma, mountain lion-esque. This Persennial, it still has elements to that elongated shape, but the large, dangerous paws. But then it's got that leafy caped back that I really appreciate for camouflage. It has the large succulents, but that now have, flowering plants inside of it. And then it has that one giant floral headpiece, almost as a crown, with the small flowers around it, to really give that element of something wild. When I was going for Meowth, I wanted domesticated cat. I wanted something that was familiar and safe and inviting. And then when you got to Persennial, you got this wild, rangy animal that could take you down if it wanted to. I think I achieved that with Persennial through a variation of things that are just unique to me, and I really appreciate. That was my thought process as going into Persennial. And then as we continue, we have two more regional variants that I covered in the past couple months. One unveiled on my birthday because it's my favorite Pokemon line of all time, is my Ice-type Growlithe. This is Ice-type Growlithe. It's got that furry, snow-like fur and, again, the icy blue color scheme. And it's got those little icy tips on the spiked fur at the top. I adore puppies. I adore dogs. Growlithe very much have a golden retriever-esque look to it. I don't think there's a more perfect animal on the planet than a golden retriever. I've been obsessed with golden retrievers since I was 3 years old watching Homeward Bound. So it's something that's very near and dear to my heart. And I love these variations of puppies. And it's an ice type because if I were a trainer, I'd be ice or ghost type. But I'm from the Midwest. I love the cold. I love the snow. I love ice. I love being at Lambeau Field in the frozen tundra when they announce that we're negative temperatures. To me, that's an ideal day. I adore the cold. So why not have a perfect companion that could go with me? That's some of the design elements. One thing I always think to look for, if you listen to my videos, you watch my videos, you see or hear me say a lot about character design. One thing I would suggest, if you're ever going to want to do something like this, make your own variations of Pokemon or make your own variations of something else. When you're first starting, take the pose. take the pose and then change the elements you need to change to make it what you want it to be. Because immediately it tracks into someone's head, oh, that is that thing. It's not necessarily, someone could say, well, that's not really you doing something. And I understand that. I really do. But when you're still gaining confidence as an artist, or you're gaining confidence as a writer, or anything else, you want to evoke the things that you need to evoke, and you need to get help to do that a lot of the time. So Growlithe was probably my first successful design I ever did, because I stopped trying to just go custom all the time and just went, okay, I'm just going to make my variation of this so I can start gaining some confidence, which is why the pose is very similar to which the pose, no, I shouldn't even say similar, it's the exact same as the official Pokedex entry picture from Pokemon games, because I wanted to evoke the same thing. So automatically someone looking at this Growlithe goes, oh, Growlithe, duh. Because it's the same pose, so it feels the same. And it's a very intentional choice. So I highly suggest, if you ever want to do something like this, think about that. And finally, we evolve into, probably, I'm biased, my favorite Pokemon I've ever designed, an Ice type Arcanine. Arcanine is my favorite Pokemon of all time. Fire Tiger Dog that can learn dragon moves. Fight me, it's the greatest thing ever. I adore Arcanine. And then to be able to make it an Ice type, chef's kiss, glorious. It's got far more that wild blizzard-like snow fur with a pushback look. Still got the fluffiness, so it's still endearing, adorable. It's got more of those icy spikes as well. The same character elements are there from Arcanine that Growlithe had as well. So I don't want to retread that, but this is a Pokemon that's very near and dear to my heart. If I could pick one Pokemon I've ever designed to have, it would be this Arcanine, because I absolutely adore it. Even though I still have over 100 Pokemon to unveil to you guys in the future, this is the one for me where I'm like, oh, I absolutely adore this Pokemon so much. I just love the blue color scheming. Love that fluffy white fur with the icicle-like spikes. It's just adorable, powerful, intimidating, regal, majestic, all in one. I think Arcanine's a perfect Pokemon. And then finally, our last line of Pokemon that you guys just may have met in our last couple videos. First, SPARACTUS. It's a fighting and grass type based off of basic cactus and a little bit of a luchador, pro wrestler from Mexico. So I do so much basis in the northern regions, the colder regions of, in my head of what this region is. And one day I'm going to share the region's map and everything with you guys. This is far more of a southern friend here. But SPARACTUS, notice it doesn't have feet. It has to roll around because it doesn't have that water content. It's that very stiff, rigid cacti, which I absolutely adore. It's a fun character design to work with. But it makes it better once you get to meet Hummingbringer, which is a flying and water type. This would be an extremely small Pokemon, but it's named the Oasis Pokemon. People traveling through the deserts in Halzari they see Hummingbringer, follow them, because they know it's a sure sign of water and a safe place to be. So it's very fun, enjoyable to bring that element out with Hummingbringer, to give those visual storytelling elements, and to give that lore element to it as well. You can see water elements in Hummingbringer with the aquatic symbol on its chest with the light blue color scheme. But then once it meets up with the SPARACTUS, it becomes HUMCACTADOR, another fighting and grass type. And you can see in the top left corner, it's called a tandem Pokemon. So if you've not seen any of my previous videos, I keep very true to a lot of Pokemon traditions. Every Pokemon game has its own in-game mechanic or gimmick that it does, going all the way back to Gen 2 with baby Pokemon. Gen 3 had a lot of variations of similar Pokemon based on gender. Gen 4 had all those new evolutions to previous Pokemon. Gen 5, the gimmick was we're just going to redo Gen 1 essentially. you know, and so on and so forth. And you got mega evolutions, you got all these different things, regional variants, all these things that were coming out per generation. My generation of Pokemon games, if this were ever to be made a game, would be tandem Pokemon. So what happens when two Pokemon essentially work in harmony to be one symbiotic being? So they'd be a tandem Pokemon. So when a Sparactus, which has very limited movement, interacts with a Hummingbringer that's bringing that water that it desperately needs in the desert, it can grow into this enormously powerful cacti that can then move, called HUMCACTADOR. Still has that championship luchador-esque design, which I adore, and it's supposed to look sinister. Called the Rudo Pokemon, which is a heel, which is a wrestling bad guy. So I love the idea of bringing those elements to it. And another character design element here, which I covered in my previous video, if you look at the pose, that's classic Hulk Hogan pose. So even if you don't like Hulk Hogan, and I completely understand, he's not everyone's cup of tea, especially with some of the comments he's made in the past, he evokes the idea of what pro wrestling is. And so to take that element of character design and pour it in, to me, is a very wise choice. It gives that classic, I'm a gloating heel. I am exactly what you think I am. And it evokes the idea and the emotion you want to get in your character design, which is why I absolutely adore this design for HUMCACTADOR. It looks like a sinister, showboating heel in a professional wrestling match, and I adore it. But it is another one of my tandem Pokemon in the region. But that, finally, is going to do it for our review. It's been a long video, but I appreciate anyone who stuck with me and watched it. I hope everyone's enjoying the Pokemon designs that I'm bringing to you. It's a busy time in my life, so that's why it's slowed down here. But it's going to pick right back up in a couple weeks, and I'm very excited to bring you even more Pokemon on a weekly basis here on the channel. But alas, we have a giveaway to announce. I was only going to do one winner this week. However, I got a wonderful bonus of activity that I didn't think I was going to get. So I'm going to announce a second winner as well, due to that activity coming from a single person, actually. Our winner of the giveaway this week goes by the handle of Shiny Azumarill. So congrats, Shiny Azumarill. You are the winner of the giveaway. And then that bonus is actually going to go with a special thank you. This YouTube user, this YouTuber essentially held a raid party and just continually threw people to comment and watch the giveaway video and to watch more content. And I got a ton more participation from them. I owe you a huge debt of gratitude for that. So MT Kilimangiello, I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I apologize. I owe you a giant debt of gratitude. I owe you a giant thank you. So that I'm going to give you also, a part of my collection as well, so I can help you out. All right, I did go to your YouTube video to check you out a little bit. I saw you do a lot of Pokemon card content, so I'm happy to at least give you something and help you keep going on your way of collecting. I want to keep doing these things, so every week I'm going to be doing that as much as I possibly can. If I can afford to do it, I'm going to do it. So every Sunday from now on, it is giveaway time. Every Monday, you're going to see the short version of the giveaway video. So in case you didn't see it in normal form, you can see it in short form. I'll always pick the winners, and I'll always announce the winners on the Wednesday video. But I'm more than excited to keep these giveaways going. I've got a lot of good traction from these guys. I've been getting a lot more interaction with you, the people who watch this channel. It makes my little heart flutter with just so much love and gratitude. So thank you so much. If you've gotten this far, please like, comment, subscribe, share it with as many people as you possibly can. It goes a long way in helping me out. Without further ado, that is it for me. I hope you're enjoying everything you're seeing. Peace, love, and hugs. Bye-bye.